Welcome to Let's Play Rule the Waves 2 as France, starting in 1920. This is episode 42. It's January 1939. Last episode, we had a really big decision-making and analysis exercise for planning out the structure of the fleet, and I came to a pretty firm decision, which I've since decided to change, partly with the help of you guys. So I've had wonderful comments from Adrian, Richard, Peter, Thalin, Stephen, Quackmoo, Timothy, Potbelly, Samperus, Jerome, and Steve. Thank you very much, guys, for all taking the time to put down your thoughts for me. They've very much helped my change of direction go, yeah, this is right. And that change of direction came for me from thinking about it and also having a little go and trying to start rebuilding. And what I found is that I was just absorbing all of my money on rebuilds, and it felt like I was putting the cart before the horse. I was focusing on modernizing my second-raters and third-raters and not on continuing to develop first-raters and then modernizing what I could. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my design studies, my Tourville and my Chateau de Foix carrier, and then I'm going to see what I can do to modernize the second and third raters. For the third raters, because of the money that the first raters will absorb, I almost certainly can only give them a minimal refit. So it's really down to the two second raters, the Marengo and the Océan, which are 23 knots, but torpedo protection 3, 9 16-inch guns, 42,000, you know, they're Nelson and Rodney equivalents, if you like. And yeah, what to do, how far to refit them. Minimal, 25 knots, 28 knots, and downgrade their guns. It all might be moot because I might simply not have enough money to do that. So that's my final plan. First raters first, minimal refit for third raters, and see what I can squeeze in for the two second raters. One thing I've also decided is, looking at the almanac, we are pretty level with Japan. So we have 14 battleships. They have 18. Well, that's hardly a difference at all. They're slightly superior in carriers. They have 4. We have 3. They have 7 light carriers. We have 3. So certainly need to address that carrier force, but obviously it's never going to go anywhere if tension with Japan keeps on being at 0. So I've decided to deploy a little force of heavy cruisers, a light carrier, a light cruiser, and a flotilla of destroyers off to the Far East, just to see if that pushes the tension up a little bit. And if it does, I might send one of my fast battleships that I've got in active fleet over there to just crank up the pressure and see if that turns up the dial. I don't know if it works like that, if it's that sensitive. I also noticed that whilst I'm heartily outnumbered by Britain, they have 26, I have 14, my erstwhile powerful long-term ally Germany has another 12, and I don't know whether their fleet and my fleet combine determines the blockade level in Northern Europe, or whether it's just my fleet. I suspect it's just my fleet, but if you know, please drop a comment for me. So that's what I've decided to do. I'm just going to let the funds build up a little bit whilst these two design studies finish off. So let's crack on. There's 2 corvettes. Night surface attacks by submarines. That sounds fun. The British have scrapped an old CVL, so it's getting to that kind of time, which is excellent. And strange error message that we'll ignore. And some nice hull stuff and air-launched, improved air-launched torpedoes. Okay, and improved 3-inch guns, finally. Still, that's a decent number of inventions to start off the year. Honestly, those Italians, you just wallop them in the war and they come straight back. So, of course, we're going to protest it in the strongest possible way. why wouldn't we increase our funds a little bit? And now our design studies should be ready. So let's just rework the design for this and check that we are happy with it. And we'll get to the toolville in a moment. This all looks pretty good. Obviously, the 5 inches aren't dual purpose at the moment. Still, only the USA has 5-inch dual purpose. Well, and Germany does. But if I build it in Germany, their hull technology is bad. I go from a slight positive to minus 270. So I don't fancy that. Instead, we'll build it, and then when it becomes available, we'll just do a small 3-month refit and get that going. However, I noticed this is only Torpedo Defense 3, and I want to push that up to 4, which is obviously going to push the weight and the cost up a bit, but that seems very worthwhile. And yeah, I'm good with that. It's got 100 airplanes. I don't know why it keeps on forgetting those two things. And got maxed out, or almost maxed out. There we go. Maxed out anti-air. 39 heavy, which obviously will increase once we get the 5-inch dual purpose. It's everything I want in a carrier. Shame I'm going to have to spend a few more months redesigning that. Hey ho. And then if we go to the Tourville, our new class of battleship. Here we go. So this seems a perfectly straightforward design. I'm tempted to increase the size just to get a little bit more on the anti-air, but honestly, just 1 or 2 is not going to make any difference. Timothy, in the comments on the previous episode, did point out the dangers of using quadruple turrets. So the advantages are massive weight saving and a more powerful forward battery. So firing forward, it has 8 guns. If they were triple, obviously there'd only be 6 guns. As with all forward only, it risks not having any guns when it needs to run away. And obviously, if it gets damaged or destroyed, it at a stroke takes out half of your battery rather than a third if I was using 3 triples. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to get rid of that and go ahead. Oh, I've just forgotten. The Tourville is designed to be built in Germany, and Germany unusually has actually slipped behind in technology. If we have a look, we are average. The Germans are behind. Soviet Union are always backward. Great Britain is very advanced as usual. Italy average. Japan is backward. Actually, that's a surprise. And the USA is very advanced. Given the current tension, I could risk building it in Britain, but I don't really want to. So I'm going to build a Tourville, organize this properly, in Germany, our wonderful ally. So that's taken our money down to 1,500. I'm going to sneak in a couple of minimal rebuilds from this oldest and most obsolete class. So let's open them up for rebuild. So I'm just looking to improve the director. You know, it's got 6-inch guns. I know that it's a bit of an odd one, 7, but it's been okay. We've got 207 tons to play with. It would be wonderful to, you know, really rearrange this, but they would suffer a 20% rate of fire modifier. So I'm not going to do that, and it would mean shuffling all of this around. So I'm just going to increase our mediums until we max out. Oh, and give ourselves directors, of course. There we go, at 137. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Yes, fuel oil is available, so 4 months at just under 1,000. Let's do that. It will put us into a small negative, but we'll keep them going for a few more years. They'll be handy, but definitely not first line in the battle, and I'll need to keep them away from the chief theatre of operations. So if we're fighting in the Med, we keep them in Northern Europe and so on. Happy with that. More lovely advances. And quality 1 2-inch guns. What are 2-inch guns for? My fleet has arrived in Southeast Asia. No impact currently on the politics. Germans are interested. Well, of course, why not? I'm going to say no to that. New bomber is entering operations. Let's have a little look at our aircraft types just to check that everything is modern. So we are in the beginning of 39. We have a dive bomber under development, a new torpedo bomber, an old dive bomber, a newish float plane, a newish scout plane, a fighter from 38. We'll have a little look at that. All right, a medium bomber from 35 and an old torpedo bomber as well. Although that's still pretty good if I compare it to the more recent one. So June, and nothing much has happened really. Japan's tension with us resolutely stays at 2, as it does with Britain, as it does mysteriously with Germany, whilst America is at 5 with Italy and the Soviet Union at 4. Oh well, let's wait until we see some more interesting developments. Here's an interesting development, Search Radar 2. This is excellent. My introduction of radar has almost finished through the fleet. Most of the destroyers now have Radar 1, so it will be great to start upgrading to Radar 2. That's our 7th invention this half year. 20 submarines commissioned. I'd forgotten about them. Well, that's a fair few. And we have a new medium bomber. So let's see what we've got here. Whoa, look at that range. So a heavy range of 309 becomes 546. Yes, please. Torpedoes carried out to medium range. So that's 673 nautical miles. That's excellent. Speed's almost the same. Maneuverability less, but it's tougher. Yeah, we'll go with the Farman. That looks excellent. Our Chateaufoy is ready, so let's go and build the first of that class. We have a little look at the almanac and just check out the submarine position. That's put us into 3rd place. So the Soviet Union has a shed load, and the Japanese have a fair old few. Everyone else has really small submarine forces. If I go to the submarines themselves, they were almost all coastal submarines. Yeah, really, it's an anti-Britain device more than anything else. See, the Soviet Union's calmed down a little bit. I'm going to turn down our intelligence effort against Italy down to low, and turn up our intelligence on to Japan to low. Keep it medium for Britain for the techs. So that's given us a new battleship and a new carrier. This will be finished next turn. So let's do that. There's the Courbet finished. They would, yes, by all means, improved guns and 6 inches. So that's 2 more inventions. So with a battleship and a carrier under build, we are losing 1,000 a month. We've only increased our budget from 422 to 426, that's only 4,000 increase. So we do need a little bit of healthy tension to come and crank up the finances a bit. Agents seem to be caught in Italy. It's a national hero. I can't believe we're going to have another war with Britain. A little CVL from Britain. Not very interesting. 32 aircraft on 12,000 tons at 31 knots. Well, I mean, that's very economic, I have to say. And we have a new dive bomber ready for operation. So let's go have a look at the aircraft types again. First of all, we have this bomber. We've got 30 in service. I think it's time that we took this one. It's been a good one. Actually, its reliability is poor. So we're going to obsolete that to increase production of this one. Ditto, we have this new dive bomber with a 280 range against this dive bomber with a similar range. I mean, that's in light. A bit slower. Average. Better bomb load. Again, I'm going to make this obsolete to encourage the replacement. And our medium bomber is so much better. I am going to obsolete that one too. So that might put our aircraft production under a bit of stress. And into November. And then finally into December. The old setback. No to air bases. New Soviet fighter, rumoured to be the fastest. One of the fastest. Let's see how the rumours play out. Fighter. Here we are at 216. Okay, 240. And the range, comparable. But the speed is a concern. So let's request a new fighter. Speed and then firepower, I think. And okay, that. So let's just see how we've done for the year. As you can see, refitted a couple of battleships and finished off the last of the Corvette refits. Built these 20 coastal submarines. I've just started on the new battleship and the new carrier and didn't do any of the rebuilds that I so elegantly planned and thought through last episode. But it feels right to focus on these great new ships and tidy up a bit of the mess behind rather than over-concentrate on the second and third rate ships. Finances have remained relatively steady with a nice sort of 60,000 balance. The expenses equally have remained steady and the actual balance has trickled along as it usually does. A good year for research, excellent. A tragic year for tensions, and as a consequence, the budget's only gone from 420 to 430, so only an 8,000 budget. And as you can see from the tensions, I was just checking that my head wasn't in the way, the alliance still goes strong, and the tensions really have done nothing. A brief flurry from the Soviet Union, which went up and then down again. Italy's gone up and down. America constantly slightly disappointed with us. So that's 39. I'll close it off here, and we'll start 1940 in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for all the thoughtful comments. It's just a delight. This is exactly what I wanted from this channel. Enthusiastic, intelligent people all chipping in with their thoughts. Great. The game just invites that. So thank you very much for taking your time to do that. Have fun. Stay safe. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.